welcome everyone to TAP. Today we are looking into non-dual therapy because we have Georgie Y. Johnson with us. Welcome, Georgie.
Hey.
Hi. So you and your partner, your dearly beloved partner, um, Bart, is you are pioneering in this field of non-dual therapy in that kind of school and that approach to us. Do you want to just begin by saying something about what it is that you do to the listeners and that work with non-dual therapy?
Non-dual therapy existed before we even heard of the word non-duality. And what it's been has been a therapist who is non-dual in his philosophical basis, meaning who is coming from the foundation of one consciousness, one awareness,
Mm.
and an implied belief that this consciousness and awareness, being the source of everything, has inherent healing potentials, whether it's Eckhart Tolle, who used to be a counselor and used to just listen in presence,
Mm.
or whoever. And so a group of psychotherapists in America at a certain moment started calling it non-dual therapy because they'd sit there in pure awareness. But in terms of a modality, that would not technically mean anything much different than regular psychotherapy. You sit there and you listen. And that you're in pure awareness is great. And maybe the silences are a little bit longer, or the
Yeah.
receptivity is a little more unconditional, but it's not yet a modality. And over on the other side of the planet, we were there like looking into the differences between mental consciousness and feeling awareness and physical sensations. And
Yeah.
Bart has quite a background in medicine and has been through, gobbled up and integrated a lot of somatic experiencing into his practice and energy work.
Mm.
And at a certain moment, what came clear with this examination of conscious awakening versus the awakening of the feeling aspect, that which is able to feel, versus physical body, these three layers, which is in the I Am Here book,
Mhm.
was this differentiation into these qualities of true nature. Now, everybody would talk about true nature as somewhere between the source consciousness, pure awareness, and our behaviors and our personalities and our quirks and our patterns and our habits and our emotions and our sufferings and our wants and needs. True nature. And they all talk about true nature. You hear true
Mm.
nature spoken about, but what is true nature?
Mhm.
So Almas, with the Diamond School, looks into the qualities, qualia, he calls it, certain qualities which come forward. And I think also Deepak Chopra is also looking deeply into this middle ground area. And because these qualities, which appear after awakening or which initiate awakening, in fact, which drive everything that we do, like love, peace, freedom, fulfillment,
Mm.
they all have a healing effect. They're not accidental byproducts of a healing process where we change our behavior. They are actually the cause, the alpha and the omega of the whole process. So in a way, it's like Source is speaking to us through true nature and through these qualities of true nature. And we're looking at different teachers around the world, and we see, okay, this one's really on a freedom schwung. He's all about freedom. Oh, and this one's all about belonging. Oh, and
Mm.
this one's all about love. All there is love. And it's an amazing thing because you go into any one quality, it's like you enter a dimension, and then everything you see through the lens of that quality, and everything responds to that quality. Meaning, if you look at a banana with love, there's something of the love inside the banana which glows outwards and moves to meet you. So
Mm.
this is how the modality of non-dual therapy appeared, in which we actively resource qualities of true nature and give a system where we actually look at where a quality contracts
Mhm.
into duality of a psychological kind, mostly. So unity contracts into self, my sense of self, and the sense of the otherness, the other, for example. But it gets more sticky. Innocence contracts into guilt and blame. And we see that in every relationship, you know?
Yeah.
And also as an internal system, like where we blame ourselves and feel guilty that we blame ourselves and blame ourselves for feeling guilty that we blame ourselves. And these little hell loops that we have and feel ashamed of everything and then afraid that someone might notice.
Yeah.
So we have these kind of groups of contractions, and with it is a modality, because if guilt is made, for example, of frozen innocence, then and innocence is part of consciousness, conscious awareness, just agreeing to feel the vibration of guilt, jigga, 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 means that innocence is now inviting guilt, like the banana, the innocence within the guilt, to melt, to expand, to decontract. And at a certain moment, innocence meets innocence, and a healing begins to happen, where the guilt kind of returns to source. It decontracts back to true nature. I choose one of the toughest ones, which is guilt, but that's the principle. And at the very least, the innocence is free to be innocent everywhere else, not just that we're all the time guilty. So we can actually relate to the innocence of a child or the innocence of a cloud or an animal. And the whole system, including the physical body, can be nurtured by innocence, even if we have a residue of guilt around, which is not such a problem. It helps us relate to everybody else.
Mm.
So that's in a nutshell. Each time we say it, we tell it in a different way, because it's a whole. It's like saying, "How did you come to the chemistry as a subject?" It's like, how do you even begin to? Where do you begin?
Yeah. Well, uh, good on you for for doing it this way. This was this was amazing. It was both answering how you've looked around, and there has, like you said, there has been non-dual therapy before you, and other people have done it, maybe not framed it as such, and then maybe some have framed it as such, but then they have focused on a certain quality like love, freedom, and
Yeah.
then you did your own investigation and
Yes.
exploration into true nature, and you kind of just explained that whole process of what that
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
And then that school began, and also you mentioned your book I'm Here. You
Yeah.
also have a website, I think, by that name.
Yes. Yeah.
um, but so that's how I found you. That's I found you on your audiobook, and also so you're an author. I just want to put that
Yes.
in there. You're an author, and there's several books,
Yes.
and also audio clips from your, what do you call it, lectures or
Yeah.
meditation sessions.
Wednesday meditations. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have these meditations every Wednesday where a quality comes forward with a duality, and we there's a group of about 20 to 30 people that come online and more on YouTube who watch it in order to explore through the feeling awareness what this quality is and how it could move through duality, and to
Ah.
open up the qualities of true nature. So tonight, for example, it's the quality of honor, non-dual honor, meaning an honor which is part of consciousness. Like the moment you're conscious of something, there is this quality of honoring it. And
Hmm.
the contraction there is pride and humiliation, which is really juicy.
Oh, yes. Pride, humiliation,
Yeah.
juicy stuff. Okay, yeah. So that's just another part of what you said was around the contraction, and so the idea is that we are our true nature. That's who we inherently are. But then
We are the source which differentiates as true nature, like light moving through a prism.
that was that was fast. You said that we are the source of our true nature.
Yes, we're the source of consciousness,
Yeah, right.
whatever that is.
Ah,
So we are that mystery, and it becomes conscious, and consciousness, as it begins to move into action,
mm,
differentiates into experience, different kinds of experience. So the first subtle experiences are qualities of true nature, like peace.
mm,
When there's absolutely nothing there, it's peaceful, isn't it? Oh.
mm.
Or care. Otherwise, why would you even wake up into the dark, primordial night?
Yeah,
Like there's a care, there's a vibration of care.
we are recording in this dark days, like I call it.
Yes.
These are dark days,
Yeah,
winter season, and that might affect our mood as well. But
exactly.
I have a lot of questions written down, but I feel inspired to just ask you freely here. How can you do non-dual therapy, when you, how can it be non-dual if you have a quality and then the opposite of it?
Yeah,
It's, yeah,
there's no opposite to a quality.
okay.
That's one of the rules of the qualities, is that they have no opposites. Like love has no opposite. You know, the partner of hatred is actually a kind of self-hatred, self-sacrifice. Or
Ah,
innocence has no opposite. Innocence is everywhere. It's in the singing of the bird. It's in our birth. It's in our guilt, in our shame, in our mistakes, in our death, in the sky, in the moon. It's everywhere.
and so when you said you have chosen now the quality of honor, and then you say,
The
then there,
duality, yeah.
then there is a duality.
The duality, it contracts into when honor suffers, when honor is a feeling.
Mm,
Yeah. Feeling of just being here now, alive. And that it's immediately there. The moment that you're conscious and aware, there is this incredible honor. There's no measurement in it. It's just pure honor. And the moment I'm conscious and aware of you, there is honor for you. It's like, wow. Yeah. And then if my personality from the past and my traumas start to come forward, it's like, oh, but she could humiliate me with this podcast.
yeah.
But then, who does she think she is? And I start to spiral into a kind of pride and humiliation thing. And of
Okay, so
course,
the
my ambition is, on the one hand, damn it, I never want to be proud because non-dual people don't have egos, right? And on
right.
the other hand, I must never be humiliated because that just is like programmed into my system to the bases in the root chakra, in the basis
Yeah.
in my system, that means death and
Mm,
suffering upon my families. So
yeah.
that's not allowed either. And so honor gives this simplicity of like a reset where it's not, we're outside of measurement. We're just alive here. Both one listener listening to a conversation which is happening and already feeling from a timeless place the people that might be listening with us. Amazing, isn't it? That's honor.
Yeah, I'm also amazed by the way that you speak, and I recognize it from having heard the audiobook, but here it's even more. I have to keep up with it. I
I
can't pause you
completely
and
pass.
take it again.
Your English is absolutely amazing, by the way. So it's
Oh,
like, but I
thank you.
do recognize that it's
Yeah, but it's because you the way that you speak is also meditative, so you have to like follow along in that.
yeah, yeah.
It's not just for my analytic mind. It's I'm
But
feeling
that's how you
into
know
it.
when you're teaching, you know that you got it when everybody in the group has dissociated.
Yeah.
They're all gone. Nobody's listening anymore. It's like, okay, my job's done. Like let's meditate now.
Yeah, because you're just feeling into it. You've
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But let me try to ask you some questions still now that we're here for that. Ah, okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that the personality can take over, and then that spiraling can happen. That
Yes.
you're doing a really good job of describing layers upon layers and
Yes.
ancestors and how it's all interconnected in our
Yes.
system. But that's when the personality take over.
And then it's
So
so interesting, isn't it? What is the personality?
yeah.
Like this thing. So from a non-dual perspective, would say, okay, there is no person. There is no personality. It doesn't exist. Yada, yada. It doesn't exist. Which is fine until you go to visit your mother and a very annoying cousin comes or whatever. And
Then
it
it
does
exists.
exist. The whole,
Yeah.
there's a form and there are habits and there are reflexes. Something is going on. So it doesn't exist as what we think we are. And then Jung comes and says there's shadows and then parts therapy comes and says you've got many personalities, which is true, but I think thousands, but unlimited.
Yeah.
But so what is this personality? So the way we see that is that it's like a subtle energy. That it's like we'd rather call it the psyche, and
Mm,
it's like an energetic form. There is actually a kind of plasma. If you
mm,
see energy, you can even see its reactivity, its movements,
huh.
its blind spots. So the psyche is the place where we mediate between the non-dual source of true nature. True nature is coming with the perceiver.
Mhm.
And then there is the other person. And then there is our psyche and there's the other person's psyche. And then there is a third thing formed, which is all of those living impressions in the here and now, which is the relationship.
Ah,
There's a lot going on here on Earth.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of it is relatable through feeling. The
Okay.
mind can't catch it. It's like, oh, you're bad and I'm good and it's your fault and not mine. I mean, it's just like silly. But experientially, there's so much happening.
Yeah. I have many questions for you. Okay, I'm gonna just ask about that one with wrong, wrong, right, good or bad. I had a therapist years ago tell me that in the middle of a session, like, what if there's no right or wrong? And I was like, no, that cannot be. I felt like destabilized,
Yes,
and I did not want to go back to that therapist because it was too upsetting for me. I grew up very religiously, so just the idea of there not being right or wrong, and I'm still kind of perplexed by that idea in my everyday life because some things seem to be very wrong to do, for example. So
yes.
can you try to answer that kind of
Yeah,
reflection?
so moral codes,
Yeah.
the mental aspect of this, do support us in navigating times when it feels that we're too shocked or too lost or too bewildered or too entangled to know our way anymore.
Mm.
So certain things like the Ten Commandments, that's a very good guide. Now, it's a guide.
Sometimes.
It's there to work for us. It's not there to blame us or to send us to hell or to punish us or to be weaponized against each other and to build an institution in which, anyway, women should shut up.
Mm.
Regardless of the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
Should be
Let's
seen
not do
and not
that.
heard and only breed when asked.
Mm.
So, but the Ten Commandments is a moral guide, for example. It's the same through all religions, all cultures. There is this moral guides for the heart for those times when we are lost. It's like structures of belief that are born to support us, which is very different from the ethics of the heart, what feels right in real time.
Mm.
So somebody once told me, somebody who was in a Jewish school in North London, how the girls used to sit there and say, would you have killed Hitler? And they're saying no, and one of them said, yes, I would kill Hitler. And the other said, no, that's terrible. You break a commandment. And this kind of young girls having that kind of conversation of
Yeah.
like, maybe you should kill sometimes.
Mm.
You know, if there's going to be like thousands of people about children about to be killed, maybe it makes sense to kill the guy who's got his finger on the trigger, or at least if that's the only option. These are ethical questions which are in the here and now, meaning we've moved already in connection with the here and now, true nature, what's needed in the moment, which is beyond the moral thing. But in that ethical consideration, there is a sense of what feels right and what feels wrong. It's part of our navigation. This is how a dog, when it smells burning dog, goes in the other direction because it feels wrong.
Mm. Ah,
And
yeah, okay.
so, in a very basic way, you know, if we eat a rotten egg, it tastes wrong. And the whole system throws it out. And we can't say, oh, you should never throw out a rotten egg because eggs are good and people are starving in Africa. You follow? So there is this basic innate sense of wrongness and rightness, which is more connected with feeling and
Yeah.
intuition and discernment in the here and now, and which is entirely flexible and adaptive.
So there's still right and wrong.
There
It's
is there
just
is there is the sense of well-being and ill-being would be another way to say it.
okay.
A drive towards well-being and a kind of awareness of ill-being.
Mm.
So we can translate that into a sense of rightness and wrongness.
Mm.
But it's a sense. It's not a thing. You know, one person's wrongness is another person's rightness.
Yeah.
You know, if you know, there's a psychic that was a British TV presenter, Michael Benteen, amazing children's guy who was a psychic and paranormal
Mm.
uh, explorer. And he was in Bergen-Belsen after the war. And they would find German soldiers who were totally innocent as if, but he said that something would just smell wrong.
Yeah.
And that would lead them, for all of them, there'd be a smell, and they would check deeper, and they would find that this is actually a leading Gestapo member dressed up as a common German soldier, for example.
Mm.
Uh, so this is intuition, you see. So
It's intuition.
often with the moral thing, we say, okay, I'm terrified. I must be right and not wrong. I can only be right. I got to be good and not bad. because otherwise there will be punishment. It's based on outer authority. It disconnects us from the body. And then it's terrifying to lose that because you know that something must be there. So the challenge then for you is to move into your deeper feeling in the guts of what feels right and what feels wrong for you,
Yeah.
to reclaim it and
Uh,
in a very living way. And what you find is spirals where it feels very wrong that I feel wrong. And no, I shouldn't feel wrong. But then it's asking for this other layer to come in, which is a change in attitude. And attitude is always true nature. So what could be the right attitude when you're coming into I feel wrong that I feel wrong and I feel stigmatized and I feel like this is the quality there is okayness, to feel
mm,
unconditionally okay to experience wrongness. You see, the reason we put everything into an adjective like wrongness, badness, goodness, and all of this is because it makes it clear this is a vibration
mm,
in the environment of the psyche and the world, and it's not a reality.
and it's not fixed.
Exactly.
Uh, yeah, I see. Okay, and mm,
So basically, what it's saying that it bothers you so much is that you are probably very deeply intuitive,
yeah.
especially when you look towards the pelvic and you withdraw authority from the outside and you trust in what you feel, even if what you feel is doubt, to
Mm,
trust the vibration of it and to find the compass inside yourself.
mm.
Otherwise, it wouldn't bother you.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing because I don't know, it was taken away from us at some point
Yes.
through socialization, and so and to think that I can be right even if nobody else agrees with me.
Yeah,
It doesn't show up in the physical world. That's
yeah. Like Schindler.
very
I don't know
place.
why I keep coming to the Holocaust. It's just in
Yeah. What?
my mind today. But yeah, but like every great, I mean, it's out where we are in terms of evolution is to come to that place where we trust our deepest sense,
Yeah.
even if the whole world is laughing at us
Yeah.
or angry at us or doing the goose step and saying Donald Trump is the Messiah. It's like to see what we feel is, or the opposite, to see what we feel.
Daring
What I
to.
feel about Donald Trump being the Messiah, or the opposite, is I don't give a toss.
Mm.
Like, what is it? It's like it's not here now. It's
Okay, so I have a question related to that. So, so you're not, are you
like
saying
trigger stacking you, aren't I?
you're not involved in politics? Is that what you're saying? Like, I only
Yeah,
care about what's here and now.
no. Um, Extremely deeply involved with the well-being of humanity.
Okay, yeah,
Politics in general tends to be a dissociated form of exchanging opinions about who is right and who is wrong, and it has
yeah,
very little to do with the welfare of a country or a community or
like that. Of
humanity or
course, yeah,
nature. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a power game, and it's gone too far. It's like a
yeah.
mental hospital up there.
I so agree with you. Like I shared with you before we started recording that we've just been voting here in Denmark,
Yeah,
and and I was discussing with people, what should we vote for? Because it's like you can vote either for a party or a person, uh, and
yeah,
it's like the person. Who would that be? I mean, I feel they're all kind of corrupt, and I
yeah,
don't trust anyone anymore.
yeah.
So I had to just vote for a party, hoping they would
Yes,
follow some of
yes,
the ideological
yeah,
lines that we. But so that's I think it's also because there's so much exposure these days.
yeah,
So we get to see there's a lot of ambition going on here,
yes, yeah,
and a lot of values carried through that political work that
yeah,
just just that is not
yeah,
aligned with what I want in society. Even the way that the politics work, not even the ideology, but even just the
yeah,
way that it's set up. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's overrated.
It's overrated. And and yet we kind of want to have a democracy, right?
We
Democracy.
very much do, but
Yeah.
then we need to look deeply into what a democracy really is and what it involves. And as far as I can tell, democracy involves people taking and being connected with their deepest sense of individual responsibility,
Yeah.
not voting for the right person because they saw so many AI generated videos on X, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, being manipulated to it almost. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I want to ask you what this non-dual therapy, what it actually does. I've written a question here. Is the therapy really the process of awakening? And I have read from one of your books.
yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned parts work, somatic experiencing. I mean, all of that,
All the tools,
all
yes.
the tools, that's the purpose is, of course, healing.
Yeah,
But there are different ways to go about it. Would you
yeah,
are you that open saying this is actually about, awakening? Or how do
yeah,
you?
yeah. So I would see awakening as always a healing process. But then I also see suffering as a healing process, so
Yeah.
disease as a healing process. Uh, Awakening happens often. I mean, illness often comes to bring us to a place of awakening. So if you take an illness, like if we take it to the physical example, so if you're sick in bed and you've got a virus, there's a certain moment you're shedding layers and layers and layers. There's a certain moment you're just nobody here now alive, and it's you and the universe.
So I got to the point where you were saying, uh, "There's only you and the universe."
Yeah.
That's the last I heard.
Yeah. And often this is a moment of, and it's like unconditionally being alive.
Mm.
Like all the arguments and this and that and the agendas and the plans and slip away. And then there is this reset, which is like an awakening. And then the whole system begins to refresh itself. And often when people have had an illness, they feel better afterwards than before because of this process. And it's the same with the psychological dynamic.
Ah.
If there's a long-term contraction, for example, of purity, let's say, of shame and disgust, and then something happens where we're completely repulsed and we feel so ashamed of the one that we're repulsed to, and then at a certain moment we feel this shame ourselves. The whole system is getting red and heated up and it feels unbearable and we want to like die in it.
Mm. Mm.
And if we can let that be pure as an experience, because at a certain moment, if it's really silly, there's no option, then something of the quality of purity comes online in a much more unconditional way, which means that maybe there's less of a split between ourselves and others and more of a kind of, okay, this is what I have experienced. It was terrible. It was horrible, but this is how it went. Like there
Mm.
is this ability to be insecure, this
Like being
ability to be
okay.
exposed.
Mm.
And then the next time the same thing shames us, it's like, oppa, there it goes. And it's no longer a big deal. I remember when I was sitting in a class with Bart and he started talking about sex. The first time I was like, oh, but the second time and the third time it was already like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm cool. And I see other students like, like, where do I put my face? So there is a process that happens connected with the deeper sense of inner purity, which means to be what we are in the here and now and not to have to split. We're looking at whether awakening is a healing process,
Yes.
and it's both. There can be an awakening, and then there can be a lot of psychological disruption after that as a whiplash. And they can call it depersonalization syndrome. If you go to a psychiatrist, a conventional one, and say, I'm not the person, and I'm witnessing this all from the here and now, and everything is really weird, they'll say that you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Uh, Not that they've got medication yet, but they'll find something to medicate
Mm.
there. So there can be quite a lot of stuff when the light of consciousness is free. Then a lot of things can get activated within the psyche, and there can be what looks like anti-healing, but in a deeper sense, it's healing
Ah.
because something is becoming free. It's like there's a long game of integration happening. And that's that way around. And then the other way around, often there won't be much because awakening is a perpetual process.
Mm.
So often every time we have a realization, for example, that we've always been innocent and that this vibration of innocence is a feeling, not a judgment, and that the innocence has always been there, that's an awakening too. The awakening of any quality of true nature will lead to an awakening of consciousness and a reverberating effect through the whole psyche.
Mm.
including the possibility of moving to a total full awakening where everything is just unfettered, it's untied. The entanglement of the psyche is much less. And then there's this awful stage where you watch the psyche doing its patterns and you're aware of it, but you can't change it.
Mm. So
So
you
it's
need
like
more.
watching the music, the bus go by, and you don't get on it, but you're aware that you're still doing it. All of the
Yeah.
old reflexes and compulsions. And there's a certain moment when there's not an investment in it that also becomes easier,
Mm.
more
Less
adaptable.
investment, more
Exactly.
light of consciousness.
Yeah. More of an unconditional attitude of like, oh yeah, there I am being I'm an idiot again. That's all.
Right. Mm. Mm.
Change
Just
in attitude, like self-forgiveness. You know,
I didn't hear that.
a change in attitude comes forward, like acceptance or forgiveness or
Yeah.
kindness towards our patterns and maybe curiosity towards them. These are all qualities.
Yeah.
Why am I an idiot?
Yeah.
Like, what does it feel like? What's the energy? What does it remind me of? What's touched inside of me? There's everything becomes very yummy and interesting.
I feel just the word you've mentioned a few times, innocence,
Yeah,
is staying with me because I noticed that's so far away from
yeah,
from what I feel when I
yes.
feel into like innocence.
You don't identify as an innocent.
I don't. Per definition, I'm guilty of something.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
just that's interesting to take
yeah,
away to sit with that. How
yeah.
would it be if I'm just innocent
So this
actually?
is the thing of every quality of true nature is able to contain the dualities, the suffering. So it's always and with the quality layer. The guilt will say, I'm only ever guilty and there is no innocence in me. But the innocence, which is your being conscious, aware here now, has all of the room for the vibration of guilt. It's quite innocent that you feel guilty. In fact, it's the innocence in you which is suffering the
Yeah,
vibration of guilt.
the innocence is suffering the vibration of
The
guilt. Yeah,
innocent aspect of you,
yeah.
of your true nature. Now, this innocence in you will be part of your essential, your essence in a way. And why do I say that? Because the vibration of innocence that moves through you will be uniquely and utterly and totally precisely recognizably you.
Huh.
And so it really matters. Nobody else can say from the outside, you're innocent. You know, it's like this one needs to come, be recognized and to have space to be alive. And this is the one which is suffering the
Mm,
vibration of guilt. And also, often it steps over into purity and the vibration of shame. These two they're very different emotions, but they can dance together. Shame is a little bit more in the here and now.
mm,
Guilt is more heavy and forever condemned.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a few more questions, Georgie. Uh, wow. Okay, so I think this quote from your book is gonna take us places. So it's just like you're talking about what non-duality is. And you say non-duality means that there's no separation between the self and the world, between the subject, the ones that's perceiving, and the object, that which is perceived, between the observer and the observed, between the seer and the seen, or the listener and that which is heard. So there's no separation. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then you're also talking about funny things can happen with the psyche if so much light from the I heard something to
Yes.
that extent can happen if okay, if it's all just one, then that can
Yeah.
almost it can be very upsetting to our system.
Yes, it activates processes,
Yeah.
healing process.
Yeah, I mean, and on the words of destabilization in a way,
Yeah.
this question is related to the the different therapeutic approaches out there, because don't you think that all would have some element of there's this upsetting this upsetting polarity in us, and you also talk about including, accepting, and no matter what modality you're working with, I think problem comes when you're rejecting something else,
Yes,
right? When
exactly.
it's torn and you
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't know which way to go. How do you, through that definition of non-duality, hmm, I can't even find my question here.
yes, yeah,
And just, what do you feel
yeah.
like saying to this question?
Yeah.
I know you can
Mm.
say something.
The qualities, true nature is always here and now, always available wherever we're conscious. There's nothing outside of true nature. Everything is an expression of true nature, like everything is an expression of source. This is the non-duality, partly. Like, within the sense of being, like freedom, for example, can contain the experience of slavery, being trapped, or having to break out. Yeah, and all the time we're free to
Mm,
have that whole experience. The experience of slavery will suck us in as a contraction, and it will say, there is no such thing as freedom. Freedom doesn't exist. Freedom is for dreamers.
mm,
And freedom is the opposite of what I'm in now. And it will form an opposite between true nature and the suffering. So everything goes into binary opposites. You're either free or you're enslaved. You either love or you hate. It all goes into these kind of competitions. So like God is in competition with the devil,
ah,
which is kind of not very flattering to the source of the whole
mm,
universe and the source of the devil. But like
mm,
this is where we get pulled into this samsara, this place of suffering. In a healing process, let's say we take an experience, like an experience of anger. Let's say we're completely furious. And it's
yeah.
this whole experience happening. And we become aware of it and we say, okay, so let's be aware of how that feels, this vibration. Immediately, it's a bit different just because we're allowing ourselves to feel it. Because part of the anger is the conflict of anger, and part of it is the anger is bad. So this feeling of doom and anticipating violence or fearing uh, consequences. And
Consequences. Yeah.
yes, all of that. So all of that's going on, and it's all an experience. And so we say, okay, so we're supposed to feel it, so we'll give space to it. So we give space to it. And for a while, it's like this. And the more we're just there with it, and it's like doing its thing, to a certain moment, it's possible to be even curious and to say, okay, what does it feel like to go even closer? And in somatic experiencing, they'll talk about, taking a tiny little bit of it, for example, just to like, what is it really made of? What is it? Is this my anger? Is my anger tasting different from the anger, of the neighbor? Or like, what's this particular vibration of anger? Like, and we go into it closer. And at a certain moment, it's almost like the consciousness which is within the anger, because the anger is an energy. It's got its own, it's not separate from source. It's got its own true nature behind it.
Mm,
So at a certain moment, we get pulled into the contraction completely, into the eye of it. And we become the anger. And then we become the anger, and everything we see is, from that point of view, is no longer anger, because we are it.
mm,
Something flips around. This is the healing moment. And it's incredibly calm. You see, there's a whole process. And then we can go, then immediately, because we're calm here, the calmness in the background is there, and something else comes forward in terms of what went over our boundaries or whatever. And maybe we remember that we were really angry. And maybe if
mm,
we really think about it, we can make ourselves angry again. But basically, it's done. And now it's time. Let's look up, chop up the bits and pieces. Okay, you went over my boundary. I felt violated. This is something probably which is a pattern of mine from when I was a child. Whatever. What do I
mm,
need to be less to be vulnerable a bit with it, and to look at what I need to protect myself? Because but none of that can happen in the midst of an emotion when we're conflicting with an emotion.
mm.
And with anger, for example, it's very tricky because anger is basically part of our primal instinctive nature, which is to do with safety
Yeah.
and protection. And so we're protecting something which is extremely vulnerable in the moment that anger shows forward, even if it's historic.
Yeah. And so you're saying finding the true nature behind the anger.
Yeah, the compassion would be the quality, to have compassion on the anger, to allow that it's part of our natural makeup, to give space to it, to let
Mm,
it move, and to see to really meet, this is the compassion moment, that place we were hurt or hit or touched just before the anger flared up like a warning system.
mm.
find that place of softness, that place. And maybe it's a place where we were wounded in the past. So then when we find that, we know that we need to be a little bit caring towards it, a little bit careful. Like, no, don't go near my shoulder. It's broken,
Mm.
Please.
Mm.
As opposed to, I kill you.
Yeah. 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 I was thinking of that quote. It's easy to become angry. It's easy to be angry with someone, but it's not easy to be angry with someone for the right reasons, in the right amount, at the right time, in the right way.
Exactly.
You know.
And you see, the contraction is already right there in the angry with someone.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
we're actually angry because we're experiencing anger. We don't actually need any justification. There's this amazing moment when we would do this kind of work where you can experience this rage or anger or fear, and it doesn't really matter what it's about. It's just releasing. It's
Okay.
completely irrelevant. And so this whole "it's because of this or because of that" becomes less of a thing.
It doesn't matter. Is it not important to
It's
have it
destructive.
directed?
It's destructive when we say it's because of the neighbor, for example. They
Yeah.
made me angry. It's not true. It's
Mm.
just not true. The neighbor is just being the neighbor.
Yeah.
We give them power over us by saying the neighbor made us angry. We became angry because something inside us needs to take space and to
Mm.
protect.
Mm.
And because we can. And because we need to be allowed to be angry, like a dog is allowed to bark or to defend
Mm.
its borders or to
Mm. So taking every person out of the equation.
later on we can negotiate with the people,
Okay.
but the emotion itself is really, it's like accident and emergency. It's such a warning signal that it's not very easy to communicate once that's there.
No, no, it's not. Yeah.
And whereas if we allow it to be there and we listen deeply to what the need is, then maybe it's easier to communicate, because something truthful will come on the flames of anger, which maybe we've been lying to ourselves about.
Right.
So it does give some vitality. But to communicate with the one we're blaming, it just turns into a blame game, and then they get angry back, and then they get angry in anticipation of us being angry, and in no time it looks like the Middle East.
So there's a whole way of dealing with anger
Yeah.
where then the truth can come forth, like you say.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
we have about 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
And I have so much more I want to know, but
Yeah.
this is good stuff.
Mm.
I'm glad you bring up anger. I think it's so relatable for all
It's
of us.
such an important one, because when we're not allowed to be angry, or our anger is made bad or evil or wicked, what's happening in the end is that we're not allowed to actually inhabit the basis of our body. We lose an
Mhm.
incredible amount of our vitality and our power source.
Mhm.
Uh, and then, because we're not allowed to be angry, and we're now sitting on our solar plexus, we're looking much more towards the environment to know how to be, what to do, if it's okay,
Oh.
if it's not okay. And we feel incredibly unsafe. And so there's another layer of unsafety coming forward, beyond the obvious unsafety of being a physical human being alive.
Yeah.
And so now the rage is building up even stronger, to the extent that at a certain moment when there is an explosion, we go into alignment and it feels redemptive even.
Mm.
And this is really how the whole Shadowlands are born, by the denial of basic instinctive emotions like
Mm.
anger or fear.
Oh, so that ought to have
Not allowed to
been.
be angry. It's like taking a bark of a dog or pulling its teeth out.
Mm.
It also takes away our naturalness, our horniness, our
Mm.
feeling of a right to exist. It takes everything offline if we can't
Mm.
feel what's happening in the lower half of the body.
Mm.
And a lot of, comes a release of shame, because there's a lot of fossilized shame at the shame of the
Mm.
shame, which clogs up the pelvic area. So a lot of sessions go something like that it's, you ask what people are feeling, and it's often that they feel
Yes.
here in the heart, and it's like, okay, so what are you feeling in the pelvic? And they dissociate, because it's completely offline. It's like all the
Mm.
feelings have to be here. So then it's like, can you feel anything at all in your physical body, in your knees, in your legs, in the lower half? Because we've really
Mm.
been split in the middle.
Mm.
especially from our instinctive emotions. And I don't even get to the big ones, the most taboo ones like murderous rage or jealousy,
Mm. Mm.
loathing. And I
Yeah.
loathe. And then,
Yeah.
and then we have politics is born because we need somebody to hate, and
Oh.
we're so right in our hatred,
Ah.
permission to kill,
Mm.
So we're in trouble in terms of
Yeah. Oh man, we have no one to blame. What do we
yeah.
do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a kind of a reclamation or redemption of our naturalness is what the way to look at it.
It's such amazing work that you're doing, and
Mm.
it's it's easy for me to see how you would have to really delve into this
Yes,
in a longer format. But
yes,
I'm glad to just have
mm,
a little taste of it here, and to try to get closer to what that means, non-duality. What would
yes.
that look like inside of me? And um, yeah, and the healing process of not dividing the world in the way that I do.
Hmm. It's, it can be so simple. It comes down just to including feeling. It's like thoughts are fine, but if you're thinking a lot, connect to what's the feeling vibration, what's happening, what you're feeling deep inside, and maybe also to physical sensation. Just check in. Also, what am I feeling in my body? Oh, I've got an itchy foot. Just to include, to honor the body as well,
Ah,
and that makes all the difference. It's the mind and the thinking and the beliefs which pull us way out of life.
ah,
Life seems senseless because we're not sensing anything because the senses are in the physical body, aren't they?
yeah.
So that movement of feeling immediately brings on this deeper dimension of that part of yourself, which is experiencing being alive. And it's like a practice. It's not a meditation, but it's like every time you remember, check on what you're also feeling.
Mm,
And it can be amazing. You could be find. I remember walking through town in the middle of the divorce, having compulsive thoughts. Blah, 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 blah. And I thought, okay, but what am I feeling? Because I'm
mm,
getting annoying inside my
mm.
head.
Yeah.
So I checked what I was feeling, and I was feeling absolutely the opposite of what I was thinking. It was like something else was going on, and it was like this incredible dread. So I was having all these self-righteous thoughts, but what was
Oh.
happening was I was feeling incredibly dreaded,
Mm,
like just spooky energy, which is
mm,
a common currency between people in conflict. And but in the moment that I was feeling that dread, what we're taught to do is say, oh, I don't want to feel that. Let's go back into the mind and have my thoughts, because that seems like it's actually leading somewhere. But actually, if you can stay with the vibration, the feeling capacity, the ability to feel anything at all comes back online, and something becomes available of, true nature of the soul,
so it's
of what we really are.
what we really are. So it's including all the feelings to discover who we really are,
No, it's accepting that we are who we really are. We don't even need to discovering it. It's almost like leaning back into it.
leaning into who you are.
Leaning back into it, being this one who's always been here. So there's the same one that's here now as was here when you were a child,
Mm,
when you first were talking to a friend at school on the first day. It's the same one. You didn't become
mm,
somebody else. It's the same one that first kind of looked at teenage years at your father and thought, oh, who is he?
mm,
You know?
mm.
You follow? It's the same one that will be here like tomorrow when you find yourself in a supermarket and, like,
Yeah, that's what you're talking about there. That's the true nature.
that's
Whereas
that's the
me,
dimension of true nature and consciousness. And uh, but often people speak about it as a mental thing, and it's actually
mm,
beyond mental.
mm.
It's not just a witness. It's like witnessing. It's
Yeah, okay.
it's that which can experience. It's that which can feel, and the feeling. It's
Mm,
always the feeling. It's so simple. It's
mm.
move it to the feeling. Move it. Not what we feel. That's not that important, but our ability to feel
Right.
the resonant area, the vibrational area.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought, with meditation, I thought maybe, I don't know. my
Yeah,
prejudice, but just like, so you're really emphasizing feelings and sensations, and because you could think, okay, because it's non-dual and it's all opposites are the same, and so you can maybe kind of skip some of it. But here you're saying it's you're really emphasizing the whole
yeah,
sensational
yeah,
part.
yeah.
Mm.
Our feeling ability. It's not so much the content of the feeling.
No.
The why do feelings and emotions matter? Because they distract us. They
Yeah,
mesmerize us. They get in our way of that spacious, peaceful, calm, expansive, alive aspect of ourselves. That's why they matter.
they matter because they distract us.
And so the moment we agree that we can able to feel them, they don't matter so much anymore. When we have
Mm.
and they don't distract us so much. It's like a cloud in the sky. It's fine.
Mm. Oh, like that.
Here
Okay.
comes murderous rage. Whoa, beautiful cloud. Looks like a dinosaur. It's not the end of the world.
But you want to go into it, I hear you say,
You
right?
can go into it if it becomes very compulsive
Okay.
therapeutically, or if you're interested to know what your murderous rage feels like and what's its history. It's because it's
Mm.
really interesting,
Mm.
but by itself, it doesn't need to be resisted. We don't need to conflict with it. When we
Right.
conflict with it, we birth a whole new dimension of suffering. Because
Mm.
now I can be anything, but I must never feel murderous rage. So
Mm.
now I must always be checking, not only if I don't feel murderous rage, that nobody feels murderous rage around me, because if they feel murderous rage, I might, being an empath, I might feel it too.
Yeah.
And so now my whole life is about murderous rage. I might as well build a temple to murderous rage and pray in it and, create a discipline out of it, because it's the most important thing, which is bigger than my existence and my consciousness and everything.
Oh, it has
So
really
that's
taken
why
over.
feelings matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to
Okay.
release, just to let them be what they are and not be bigger than we are.
Mm.
They're just impressions.
They're
And we're
just.
the ones that are able to feel the impressions, to feel it
Mm.
all of it,
Mm.
in ourselves, in others. It's amazing. And that feeling ability is the holy grail.
Yeah.
Yes, sentient beings. We are not insentient beings, happily enough.
Mm.
Not yet, anyway.
Mm. I love that. Yeah, and it's a big deal. Let's not pretend it's a big deal to allow
Yeah,
yourself to feel
yeah,
all
yeah.
of that.
Yes. But part of it is just a brain switch, because after that, it's not like it all happens all at once. It's like you might feel nothing at all, except kind of, often people say, I feel nothing. And it's like, okay, what vibration of nothing?
What
There's so many
vibration?
safety mechanisms that it's not
Mm.
like we get, I mean, but sometimes people say, I feel overwhelmed. And it's, oh, wow, what does that feel like? The sense of overwhelmingness. Like, what is overwhelmed?
Mm.
I thought I was.
Yeah.
You see
What
what I
is
mean? So it's like a
overwhelmed?
cup is overflowing, but I'm not the cup.
Mm.
So everything translates into feeling, and that's really amazing. It can
Mm.
feel impossible. And so you say, what does impossibility feel like? And when have you felt that before?
Mm. And so it's both discovering I'm not the one
Yes.
who's suffering, but then also letting it, I
Yeah.
mean, have that feeling of
Yes,
suffering.
exactly. You see, it's really a middle way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the mind is the main, it can be an incredible support, like we said
Mm.
about the Ten Commandments, but it can be, at this stage in humanity, we're developing self-awareness, mental consciousness,
Yeah.
and the piss goes to the head, literally. I mean, it's like it can create whole universes of agony and pain. Like, just look on Netflix and.
Yeah. It's wounded. It's
Yeah,
wounded.
yeah, and reflexive and reactive, and not
Mm.
yet all the time working for us, more working against us.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, I
Trying to
love
be
that.
its own thing.
Trying to be something, someone.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Special. Yeah, yeah.
Georgie, in front of me, I have your birth chart. Is it okay if I say just a little thing about it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I'm accepting.
Oh man, so you are a Virgo, and you're one of those special Virgos that were born when both Pluto and Uranus was in Virgo. So that is, I've seen that before in therapists for sure, because of that Pluto Sun, and then the Sun Uranus is that higher conscious, higher awareness coming down into earth, so that is really a big part of it is coming down into the body. But actually, the signature I thought to mention to you is opposite that I just mentioned, that little complex there in Virgo. Opposite that in Pisces, you have Chiron, and Chiron is this healer archetype,
Mm.
to say the least. Right? There's many words to an archetype, but it's an healer archetype. It's a trailblazer, and it is definitely also the reunion of science and spirituality. But so
Ah!
in Pisces, it's to do with your spiritual connection. So I wonder, um, with all of what we see in our chart, there are many processes, just like in therapy. It's not just one and done. There's a process for life here. But so I thought if you could recognize this, that there has been some kind of disillusionment around your connection to God, and
Mm.
then having had to forgive God in a way, and maybe, of course, also renaming what that is, but that there had been some kind of um, struggle and maybe disappointment
Mm.
around your spiritual connection.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you
Yeah. Oh,
recognize
yes.
that?
I mean, that's pretty much the engine of it all. Yes.
Okay. How
Very
so?
deep. I think maybe karmically, uh, some very strong beliefs of God the protector, God the savior,
Mm.
uh, God that I bargained with at a certain stage, and then he broke his side of the deal, but then that God collapsed. And then moving into, as a teenager, more Eastern Vedic approaches where, God is so absolute that he absolutely is not even there. And, and then back again to a feeling of mission with becoming Jewish. And I had this, and being an investigative journalist, and this very strong connection with Judaism, and not
Okay.
religiously, but just in terms of feeling guided, but then finding so much hypocrisy and disappointment over there with the kind of what I really didn't expect it to be
Mm.
so extremely corrupt in the rabbinical courts. It's a
Mm.
lot. It's one thing after another. I swear, it's like a roller coaster, and
Mm.
to where we are now, which is this realization of holding the paradox of, like, like non-duality seemed to be the answer. You are pure consciousness. You are God, and all of this. But then suddenly, in the depth of meditation, comes God again, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, you show up.
What are you doing here?
Like the inner and the outer light, and just being beginning to feel very safe with that, and
Mm.
coming back to just the classical things.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, coming back to the classical things, which is maybe what I was born with, which is that there is this feeling that there is this oneness and a kind of realms, dimensions, and that it's really incredibly benevolent and everything's
Yes.
really okay.
I love that. Yes, I think you are born with that understanding,
Yes.
that wisdom in your soul, that you are ultimately protected and
Yeah.
helped and guided.
Yeah.
And all of what you mentioned was part of a
Yes.
process, a
How to
karmic
be
process.
here in all of this,
Yes,
how to navigate this wilderness,
exactly.
the kind of wilderness, isn't it, that we find ourselves in?
Yeah. Oh, but it's a wonderful pair because without it, the Virgo can get quite anxious. So
Oh, I got anxious too.
yeah.
That
So it's a
happens, a
real
nervous
help.
break.
It's a real help to have that Chiron
Yeah,
letting you know there is something. Maybe we're not
yeah,
sure what it is, but something
yeah, yeah,
is
yes,
protecting us.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Wow, Georgie, thank you
Thank you for
so
that
much.
reading. That's amazing. I will
Thank
play it
you.
back and write things down.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Let
yeah,
me know if you have any more questions about it
yeah,
because it's major things just,
yeah,
but that's what I do here in Intuition. It's just short, but
yeah,
in
yeah,
astrology, everything means a lot. There's so many
yeah.
layers to it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And yeah,
Pleasure.
recommending the listeners listen to your audio books as well.
And online courses, there's possible to experience something of the deep dive into energy healing and or non-dual therapy, also online.
Wonderful. And you also, are you writing a new book? Or did you write a new book?
Yes, new book on relationship.
Coming
Yeah.
out soon?
Within the next 6 months, for sure.
Okay, soon enough.
The magic of relationship and from the
Oh,
non-dual point of view. Yeah.
perfect. Looking forward to that.
The
Thank you so
golden
much,
rule.
Georgie.
Okay, it's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.